On day 19 of our Japanese tour, October 2018, we visited the Umeda Sky Building. You can get there using the Umeda railway station, but we walked from another tourist attraction which was just as easy. There were hardly any people around when we went there, so that was good. Don't particularly enjoy too many tourists, although we are tourists. So here's a photograph or a video of the building and surrounds. And if you pause it, you can get to see the top story. And here's a still photograph of the top story showing the two escalator tubes in the dome area. From the ground floor, you've got two basement floors and the third floor where the lifts take you up to the 35th floor. On the 35th floor you've got these lovely escalator tubes that take you up to the 39th floor. We didn't stop at any other floor in between because that's all probably business. You can pause this if you want to bother to look at the building plan at the different levels of the 40 floors. We didn't go up to the rotating garden because apparently you had to pay for it. Couldn't find it anyway. So we stopped and we walked around this particular floor and looked out at the windows at the landscape of Osaka City. I suppose if you went up to the floating garden you'd get a much better view. We were content with looking at the city views from the Ferris wheel. That was a really enjoyable ride. And once you've finished looking around the 39th floor, you can see that escalator tube in that video here. And here's another picture of it. And if you have a look at the landscape below, and then from below you can see the two escalator tubes in this video, or photograph, sorry. And here's another view of the escalator tubes from the level, the 35th level. Somewhere on one of the floors was a history of the building, and we wandered around and had a look. There were a huge amount of these tall rectangular drawings of the different monoliths around the world, like the Egyptian pyramids, Taj Mahal, and New York skyscrapers, and Athens, and the ruins in Athens, and just dozens and dozens of these tall rectangular photographs. So then we moved on to some of the other exhibits of the building and how it was constructed, including a description of its earthquake foundations. So inside the centre of those tall rectangular pictures was this area of the actual building construction and a story or history of the building. And there was a lovely seat to relax on. So just a little bit of a story of the Umeda Sky Building. It was completed in March 1993. It's 170 metres tall with 40 floors, 2 underground, and a world-renowned building. It has 2 towers, an east and west tower, and are connected at the top by a circular garden observatory where you can go and look at the city and surrounding skyline. So from the 39th floor you travel back down the escalator tube, and you can see from the windows the design of the building. Then you get the fast lift from the 35th floor back to the 3rd floor, and either somewhere thereabouts was this display of a local art museum, and it tells the story. If you bother to stop and look, it tells the story of the art museum and the creator of some of the artwork. And you can pause and have a look at it if you wish, but that was all in behind glass. If you pause this, you can read the story about the bloke who interpreted the art or painted the art, or you can look online for more of his paintings and artwork. It was interesting, some of the artwork, a bit Japanesey in style. I like this one, and there were a few like this around this. So then we went down to the shops in the bottom floors, and this area is pretty much designed as the Osaka old shopping streets and laneways, and it was quite well done, and it was functional because you could go into the shops and buy things, and there's small restaurants, sushi bars, but there was hardly anybody around, which quite amazed me. Maybe it was a day off, so that was enjoyable. Then down the bottom floors is the building's garden, so you walk out into the open area. You can see the top of the building in this video, and then a ramp takes you across a sort of a water lake full of rocks, typical Japanese rock ponds, and there's this sort of a gate, and then you go into the walkway that takes you around this garden, and the garden actually makes you feel like you're in some kind of enclosure or garden aquarium. It was really peaceful and quiet in there, and the trickle of water made you feel quite relaxed. But it'd be good to have lunch in there if there was any seats to sit down to have lunch. And here's the selfie. I avoided getting a selfie of myself. Then we moved back in, and as we were leaving the building, we took a photograph of this rock pool from a little bit lower level. It's worth pausing this and reading a little story about this little garden. Outside you've got the flags, and as you move along you come across this, what I call a garden wall. And of course there's the Doctor Who telephone box. No, just a garden wall. That's not the only one. You can see more garden behind it. We didn't go into that garden area, but you walk along the boundary between the building and the garden, and you come across this literal garden wall. It's like a modern day hedge, if you want to give it a name. I didn't particularly read the sign that was below the hedge. I should have. It reminded me a little bit of New York's raised garden and walking and cycle track alongside the Hudson River. It gives you that feeling of outdoorsiness in a city environment. Barcelona had a better one of these. It was just this whole side of some buildings. So the video was produced by myself, and it's the end of another exciting video of our Japanese tour, October 2018, day 19. We visited the Umeda Sky Building.